And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well. Got a number of things we're going to dive into today. Definitely going to piggyback off of some things that popped up yesterday, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it. But before we get into that, let me tell you about our friends over at the Good Feet Store. If you're dealing with any type of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, or back pain, you got to check out the Good Feet Store. Midtown Village is where you can find them. I spent some time in Midtown Village last night, quite some time, and actually, ran into some folks from the football side of things. I'll get into that in a second. But Midtown Village is where you can find the Good Feet Store, where they have those premium arch supports that are designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, they will take care of it. And they're clinically proven to do so in just 4 short weeks. If you're dealing with, quad tendonitis like myself, that was really, really plaguing me. I couldn't run the way I wanted to. I wasn't getting around the way I was hoping I would be able to. Again, I'm not that old. I know I've been out the game a little while now, but it hasn't been that long. But I still was dealing with a lot of aches and pains. But these arch supports have been phenomenal at getting rid of all of that. So I urge you guys, take advantage of these Good Feet arch supports. They're not your typical, orthopedics that you might find at a CVS or a Walgreens. You just head on over to the Good Feet store, and they'll explain all this in further detail. Or you can go to their website, goodfeet.com, for more information, or find the nearest location to you. The good news is they are nationwide. I know we've got listeners from all over, California, New York, Texas, you name it. Well, they've got Good Feet locations all over. Just go to the website, goodfeet.com, or you can type in your postal code, your zip code, and they'll find the nearest location to you. Midtown Village here in Tuscaloosa. Birmingham's got a location, South Alabama, where Wyatt is from. They got one down there, so he can send all his family and friends from back home to the Good Feet store there. They got a nice new store there. But check them out. I promise you will not be disappointed. Try before you buy. Nothing to lose. Again, that is the Good Feet store. Improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Now, I said I spent some time over in Midtown Village last night, quite some time. And here's why. Jaisha, I don't know if I know you're big into sports, but are you big into video games at all by chance?
Yes. I used to beat my siblings' tail in Mortal Kombat. They still can't whoop me.
Dang, okay, so you're a Mortal Kombat kind of girl. Okay, I like it. My brother loves Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all that. Well, I don't know if you keep up with the new stuff now, but they had a new Nintendo Switch that was released yesterday. And same thing with shoes and everything else nowadays. They can't just say, all right, it comes out here, just everybody can just go get some, units, products, whatever, and make it all normal. No, nowadays they do limited products. So what do? They have you get in line and wait and camp out. Well, it wasn't quite that. We weren't really camping out. But long story short, they had it set up where, it came out at midnight. We're on Central Time, so 11 is when it actually came out. So if you wanted to secure one and not miss out, plus I'm sure you guys know the whole stuff with China and chips and all that, there's a chance that you could easily, miss out on something. It might not come back around for a minute. So anyway, me and my brother had gone to go wait in line, and we got there at like 9:30. So we really were only there for just a little over an hour. But I did spend a lot of time there, and it was funny because I ran into I'm sure Scotty doesn't mind me sharing this, but Scotty Hollins, who is he's like the chaplain. He works as a team chaplain, men's basketball, football for sure. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time with him with football, but he also does a great job with men's basketball. I'm sure a number of other things. He works with Jeremiah Castile, but he was in line with one of his sons, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Excuse me, because it reminded me, me, my brother, my mom, we used to do this every now and then, like when a new PlayStation would come out. But Scotty was there. We were right behind him, so we were chatting, having a good time. And funny story about Scotty, his family actually earned like a big vacation trip, all paid for, I believe, excuse me, on behalf of Nintendo, which is ironic because they're waiting for this new Nintendo console. But they won it because they sent in, it was like a contest about like show that you're the biggest Nintendo fan. And I think Scotty was explaining how he had his old Nintendo from way back in the day, like the original. His kids had, the new Nintendo devices. They recorded this video and they earned themselves a free trip, vacation, all covered to Japan. And they did that a few years ago. I remember when he was telling me that. I think they were featured on like the Today Show. Is the craziest thing, but sure enough, did it shock me that I saw Scotty in that line? Absolutely not, man. Obviously, he's a great father, number one. I mean, sitting in that line with his son, but two, we know that they're big gamers and Nintendo fans. So that was cool. And also, I'll just say this: one of the coaches from the coaching staff was actually in the line too, Jaisha. It was funny. I just saw somebody in little camping chair that I knew, and I was like, hold on, wait, that's Coach so and so, and sure enough, he was waiting for his son, and you talk about dedication, man. And his son, really wanted one, and obviously we know how busy these coaches are, especially right now, man. He came out there, Jaisha. He had his little lawn chair set up. He sat out there for about an hour and a half to pick one up for his son, and he was on his way, man. So I just thought it was interesting. Plus, there's some other folks that are involved with the university as well. So that's what I was doing last night, and I'm excited. I didn't really play it a whole bunch. Have you played a Nintendo Switch? I know you mentioned Mortal Kombat, but have you played like any of the Nintendo Switches, Jaisha?
So I still have my Nintendo DS. I don't think
Oh
Nintendo
yeah,
will ever go away. But yeah, I
no.
have it. Occasionally I'll pick it up and play Mario Kart, but I
There you
think I may
go.
have gotten that thing maybe at 7, 8. It's
Dang,
it's,
yeah.
it's been some years. I'm kind of old now, 22, but it feels older.
Oh, no, you're not old. No, but you're right. That would be about that time because I got my first one, like the very first one, when I was probably around 9 or 10, I believe, and I think it was probably it was some years ago. But man, that was definitely a fun console. But yeah, I still play Mario Kart. Matter of fact, that was like the only new game that came out with this new one, and so I got that bundle. I played a couple games on it last night, and I'm excited to start playing a little bit more of it. But anyway, man, this is one of my things. Obviously, I love sports. I love learning Spanish. You guys have learned that. You see, matter of fact, Q06 is in here. He's also learning Spanish. You hear me speak some Spanish every now and then. But um, video games are not another nice little, hobby of mine. Fishing. I honestly do a little bit of everything. I'm very, I would say, like a jack of all trades, so to speak. I mean, I grew up skateboarding, doing some hunting, fishing, video games, football. I mean, language learning. It's yeah. Anything you could probably come up with, I've probably tried it or know a little bit about it. Anyway, that being said, that was what I did last night. So I thought that was interesting to share with you guys. In terms of what we got to talk about, I mentioned it earlier, but to dive back into it, because we're about to hit this break here in a second and the preview. So recap, yesterday we talked about the state of college football. We discussed that. We got plenty of that conversation in. Well, we started segueing in to some people sharing their thoughts specifically on this defense. We love talking football, specifically defense. That's our thing. Well, Greg McElroy, we read something about his expectations. Well, I've got the clip. It's about a 3.5 minute long clip. We'll listen to that here in a minute. We'll break that down. We'll respond to that. We also had my dad on the phone lines yesterday. And obviously, you guys know my dad, co-host of the show, definitely been busy recently, but he's finally got some more free time. We didn't get to really dive into the football talk. We talked mostly about, the state of things and all that, but we want to talk about the defensive line, and he didn't get a chance to yesterday. So as we close the show, he said he was going to circle back. Well, the plan is I'm going to try to get him on the stream. So for you guys that are here on this YouTube stream, we're going to get him on here. That way you can see him because, first of all, you guys know he's going to have plenty of hot takes. So buckle up. This is going to be this could be a very interesting show because he's going to come with it. Don't worry. I got our back. I got our back. I say that because you guys know I got to play defense on him. I got to play defense. I'm ready to do so. But I'm going to send him this invite here. But anyway, we're going to get him on the show. We're going to discuss that, break down this Alabama defense, give our thoughts and more, plus some other things that come up. So that is what is on the ticket. I do want to say before we go to break, I want to offer my condolence to the Russell family. I'm sure you guys have been made aware of the news involving his twin sister. Just want to say I'm praying for that family. I can only imagine how difficult of a time it is for them. And I just want to say I'm definitely praying for them, thinking of them. And I just encourage all of you guys to lift them up in prayer and think about them as they do go through this very difficult time. So just wanted to say that before we go into this break. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we get rolling. We'll listen to Greg McElroy. We'll talk about this Alabama defense. We'll hear from the pastor of Payne as well, and we'll keep on rolling. But don't forget, you guys can also jump in. I want to get y'all's thoughts on the responses from him, 205-342-9904. I want to get y'all's responses from what he has to say because we know he's going to have plenty. So buckle up. It's coming up here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa. Quality is number one. You got to start with a good quality product, but it's got to be at a good value to the customers.
Everything is about quality.
You just can't beat the quality, taste, and value.
And it's because we take pride in providing you with the best.
Good customer service and good food, good quality.
We want to make sure that we give that to them each.
All right, good deal. Good deal. What's up, Q? Good afternoon. Roll Tide, man. What's up, C? Mike, I see you guys. Welcome in. All right, you guys are, y'all are OGs, so you're familiar, man. For the people that are a little bit newer, hope you guys are buckled up because you guys know how outspoken my dad is, and obviously we're talking about defense, defensive line, things that he's definitely very outspoken about. It's going to be interesting. And he told me he was on radio in Charlotte yesterday talking about some college football stuff. Roman Harper also, goes on that station as well, and I think Roman was offering some thoughts and he had some response. So we're going to dive into a lot of it. I just sent him this link, so hopefully he remembers how to do it, man. It's been some time. It's been quite a while.
Tuscaloosa. Don't risk losing the trusted news, traffic, sport.
But we'll see when we get him. He might be in a little bit. I know he mentioned maybe closer to the second hour, but just curious, what made you want to learn Spanish? Great question. Pues, te puedo explicar en español si quieres o por hacerlo en inglés. Avísame. But, man, I used to...
it's finally been solved.
I used to play soccer growing up, and I had a number of Spanish friends, but I used to play soccer with a lot of, Spanish speakers. And not to mention, a couple of my best friends were
for visible result.
Spanish speakers. Their parents were from Mexico. And so I was just, I wouldn't say like I was around it as if like, I was listening to it all the time. But obviously, from like the age like 13, like 17, I was, friends with these guys. And
last free delivery on the perfect.
I don't know, man. I just think it was always cool listening to them switch back and forth. So we'd be playing soccer and we'd be playing with the other Hispanics. Those guys that didn't really speak English, man. They were literally, only speaking Spanish. I was like, dang, I wish I could do
40-volt string trimmer kit.
So basically, I just always wanted to speak another language. And then I finally decided like a year and a half ago that I was going to actually try to do it. And that's what I did, man.
Alabama Crimson Tide with the...
I went and bought this book. I need to recommend you this book. Because it's not really like a textbook. As a matter of fact, I can go get it and show it to you at some point.
A lot of fun stuff planned for you tomorrow, so you'll definitely want to tune in.
Yeah, man. Started with that, and I just started studying every day. I've been studying every day for about a year and 6 or 7 months, about a year and a half, maybe a little bit.
100.9 and Tide 100.
Tide 100.
But Q, you have to play the new Legend of Zelda, man. That's a classic, but you got to play the new ones are insane, man. Especially like on these Switch consoles that we're talking about. They're insane.
Storms developing by afternoon. Storms could be strong.
I can only imagine what it would be like if you picked up one of these and started playing this one after playing that one a while ago.
79 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the action. So we finished the show yesterday. We had my dad on here. We went long. We did get Digger on here. We squeezed him in, and I told him my homework was to actually go watch, I think it was a game 1 of the softball championship. I'm not going to lie. I was so tied up with waiting in lines for a video game console that I forgot, which I could have just done on my phone. But I was, talking with Scotty and whatnot. But anyway, I need to actually revisit that because that is that's the topic we could talk about. I mean, talk about Texas Tech. That might be one of the best NIL investments that we've seen, right? I mean, I don't think Texas Tech has sniffed anything close to what they're doing right now in softball. They go out and offer $1 million NIL deal to the, what people coin as, or, the best softball pitcher in the world, right? And clearly it's paying dividends. They're playing Texas for a championship. So maybe we'll circle back to that. But anyway, we did talk to my dad yesterday. We talked about the defense line, and we're going to get him on here to talk about it. But first, I want to start with Greg McElroy's comments, because that's where this all stemmed from. We read the article, but we haven't listened to the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick things off with Greg McElroy sharing his thoughts on Alabama's defense for this upcoming season here in Tuscaloosa.
At number 6, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, Kalen DeBoer decided to hire Kane Womack a year ago, and it took a little bit of time. Now, there was obviously a significant transition from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer in many ways, but their philosophy defensively changed quite a bit. And if you think about what Kane Womack had been for a very long time, yes, they want to run man, but yes.
Oh, wow. So we had to add quick on that one. Give me 1 second. We're playing that. But I get what he's about to talk about is the differences, kind of what we expected from Kane Womack coming into what they did. I mean, a lot of people talked about the whole, zone defense playing off of, your eyes, being an athlete, which is true. But we, in fact, saw a whole lot of man coverage this past year. Here we go.
A lot of vision principles, which is a fancy way of saying zone principles. And that took a little time. And as a result, there in the first month and a half of the season, there were some growing pains for Kane Womack and his personnel. But I love the way the team started to round into shape as the season went along. Remember, they were extremely young on defense last year as well. They at times had as many as 4 freshmen on the field at any one given time. Those guys are all back. Those guys are all now sophomores. And those guys are all in a position to, I think, take a significant step here. They have a lot of returning talent. They have a bunch of contributors off last year's teams that decided to come back and should be able to anchor up front. It really starts with LT Overton and Tim Keenan. Now, LT Overton, him deciding to return was massive. Now, Keenan's going to be that big body in the middle of the defense. He'll be able to go alongside James Smith. Those two guys kind of in the interior are massive. But the big question for Alabama's defense is, where is the pass rush going to come from? Well, LT Overton can help deliver that, but Quay Russaw, he's the guy that I think has. Then you have a couple highly touted prospects that Alabama is very bullish on. Keon Keeley was a highly recruited prospect. He's now in his redshirt sophomore year. It might be the time for him to really take a leap and become a legitimate playmaker there on the edge of the defense. Really, the second level is where I think most people back did miss spring, but this is a guy that was playing high-level football throughout all.
I don't know. I hate to stop that right there, but I just wanted to say this. If you notice, he's literally echoing everything that I've been saying. What did I just say about Deontay Lawson? Great player, but sometimes finds himself out of position. I just said that. I think I said that yesterday. And then my biggest question mark being the pass rush. Let me let the video continue, but I just was like, because I haven't listened to this whole video, and I was like, dang, he literally was echoing everything. And I just was saying about this defense. Maybe he was listening to the show, guys. I don't know.
I mean, more and more comfortable with the scheme change from where they ran previously to what they ran last year. Justin Jefferson's got a ton of juice and a ton of athleticism. Then you also have a few guys in the back end that I am really optimistic about. A ton of elite talent, a ton of guys that played last year that got their feet wet. Now they're poised to take a huge leap. This could be one of the best groups in the country by season's end, assuming those young players can continue to develop the way they were developing throughout last season.
So there you go. So that was Greg McElroy discussing this Alabama defense and his thoughts on it. Again, I took that quick pause real quick because really echoed everything that I've been saying about this unit. So it's good to know I'm not the only person that sees things one way. That being said, I think really, again, the biggest question mark, where's that pass rush going to come from? And that's important, guys. Pass rush, there's a reason pass rushers are some of the most, some of the most highest paid guys in the National Football League. So we'll see. Quay Russaw, I agree with him. He clearly gives you the best chance of being, the most active guy off the edge. Clearly you just look at his explosiveness. Things he did last year, he was banged up, so that definitely had an effect. You talk about all around, I mean, he's definitely the best all-around edge guy they have, without a doubt. But what I'm referring to right now is I just don't see an elite pass rusher on this unit right now. That doesn't mean somebody can't step up. He threw out the name Keon Keeley. We know the potential that Keon hasn't shown it yet, right? Yanze Pierre coming out of high school. I remember watching him at camp, seeing the juice, right? Haven't really seen that at this level yet. So somebody's going to have to step up. Matter of fact, Brock just said this in the comments here on YouTube. Yanze Pierre is a guy to watch. Most definitely. I mean, could be Noah Carter. I mean, I mentioned Cavante Henry yesterday. Only thing we know about him is what we've seen from, his JUCO tape, which, again, I mean, you look at his explosiveness, his explosiveness, his quick twitch, his first step. He's got the tools, he's got the traits, but again, guys, we just don't have true receipts there. And I know LT Overton, yes, he was effective getting after the quarterback, but I'm saying, that true go get it guy, which, I mean, he can get after it, but you guys know what I mean, right? I mean, the Dallas Turners, right? The Chris Braswells, Chris Allens, Will Anderson. We need one of those guys to step up, right? And I think that would make this defense. It really would help round off this defense. He seems really confident in that second level at linebacker. I definitely feel confident. I don't know if I would say that they're basically. I would almost say the secondary is a strong suit of this defense. Sound like he was leaning more towards the linebacker play, given that Deontay Lawson, 50-year guy coming back. Justin Jefferson, obviously, a lot of people excited about him with an expanded role, but I would probably lean more with the secondary, which is ironic. You completely flipped it around from this time of year. But obviously, a lot of big things expected out of that defense as well. So we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we continue to break this down, talk about it. My dad's going to join us here in a minute. He's figuring out his settings and all that stuff, so we'll get him on because he definitely has some thoughts. The other part of this was the defensive line, what Greg started with. Well, we talked about PFF ranking this defensive line, the second defensive line unit in college football. Definitely going to get my dad's thoughts on that. And I'll even offer some more. We'll expand on that as well. Plus more coming up right here on the Miller's Edge after this quick timeout. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, the home of Alabama sports. We'll be right back.
It happens more than you think. A customer wants no.
Yeah, Q, call him once he gets on here, man. Hopefully, he's trying to figure out something with his his mic. I know what it is. So he has a MacBook Air, and so a USB mic. The MacBook Airs don't have the like a USB insert, so you have to have an adapter. Yeah, I probably should have told him that earlier. Worst case, we'll get him to call in. What's up, Brock? Yeah, we briefly discussed that, man, and offered our condolences, man. Nice stash. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, Yanze, man, I remember, out of high school, you talk about a dude with some pass rush juice, man, and he definitely had it. But again, we just haven't really seen those guys step up, and now is the time. Outside of Quay Rusaw, I know Jamarian Latham is a guy they're going to rely on.
Apple makes it easy.
But I think there's opportunities, man, for guys that they want to earn a spot, earn a role, man. Show what you can do getting after the quarterback. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
At 205-752-9611.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. Smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. pricing participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
If you find yourself in a wreck, keep 3 things in mind. First, call the police. Second, take pictures of the scene. Third, call me. I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano, and I win. My firm is committed to fighting the big insurance companies and making sure you get the money you deserve. Call today for a free consultation. I don't get paid unless I win for you. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
T-Mobile Home Internet.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. We just got done talking about, listening to, I should say, the McElroy video, him breaking down Alabama's defense. Again, a lot of praise, for that unit. He definitely feels they could be one of the top units in the nation. I think they've got the pieces. I wouldn't say they're completely complete. That was a little redundant, but you get my point. I think they're still lacking a couple things. Most notably, I would say the pass rush. I mean, I feel like I need to see some answers there. But everywhere else, I feel a little bit solid across the board. The only other thing that I feel like needs to be addressed is the consistency in the run game. I think if you look statistically, I don't think our run defense was that bad. I think it actually was decent in terms of numbers. If I'm not mistaken, I think last time we looked at it, it wasn't bad. I'm going to try to pull it up real quick. But forget the numbers, just going off of the tape. There was times we lacked physicality. That was an issue to me. Yes, there was times the guys were out of position, and that definitely stood out. I remember, we were breaking down some of the games on the post-game show that I do, and that was one thing that really stood out. Sometimes these linebackers are taking them out of position. Greg mentioned, obviously with the new system, could that have been contributing to that? Definitely could have been. Could guys have been a little unsure? I mean, in football, man, you can't second guess. You got to be sure what you're doing. That way you can play fast. And all it takes is to be a step behind or step out of position for you to get beat, for them to make a big play, explosive play. But that was one thing that stood out to me that needs to be cleaned up. And the good news is that's not a lack of talent. That has nothing to do with talent. That more so, revolves around knowing what you're doing, knowing your assignment, having a good game plan. That way guys can go make plays. And I think that will be cleaned up. I mean, I think it is natural when you go from one system to another. I mean, it's not – football is football, but at the end of the day, there always are going to be different rules and philosophies. And we talk so much about the differences in this new defense in terms of like a coverage philosophy from, defending the passing game philosophy. Obviously, we talk so much about, Coach Saban was that, pattern match system, right? That everybody – really adapted and started picking up on. It was basically man match principles, all that stuff, versus, Kane Womack's system when he came in. It was more of the zone defense philosophy, vision coverage, being an athlete, breaking on the football, making plays, swarming to the ball. It's kind of funny to say, but that's their little moniker. But the other thing was we always talked about the personnel thing. It used to drive me nuts. Everybody says, we can't survive in a 4-2-5. We're not going to stop the run. And I used to urge people, that's why we got Kane Womack on the show last year, so we could discuss that and explain that their base is a 4-2-5, which the only difference was our base was a 3-4, which, I'm a fan of 3-4 defense. That's what I was, raised in, right? But I always told people the reality was we hardly played our base defense, especially even after I left. We played even less of it. I mean, literally, statistically, and not just us. You look at Georgia, you look at any of these teams that you always thought of these big defenses, they're running 3-4s, 4-3s. You know, they're physical against the run. Well, if you actually go watch the tape, you would quickly realize that 80 to 90% of the time they're in a sub defense. They're in a nickel type defense. Why? Because the game has changed. The offenses have evolved. So that really wasn't too much of a difference. Not to mention, and he told us on the show, and we saw it during the year, that they have that flexibility, right? If they had the right personnel, they had the flexibility to adjust and get into more of a 3-4 defense, right? They call it the Gator package, I believe. But they had that that ability to do so. So anyway, I'm really excited to watch this defense this year. I think they are going to make good progress. I'm really curious to see who that guy is that steps up as that guy, you know, getting after the quarterback. I mean, I already know LT Overton's going to be productive, you know, in terms of, you know, pass rush. We know that. But what guy that's a true edge guy, not LT lined up in a 5 or on the edge because he can do it. No, what true wolf is what they call that position. You know, Quay Russaw, if I had to put my money on one person right now, it would be him. But you need more, right? I mean, especially if you're talking about like in certain sets. I mean, you want 2 outside linebackers on the field. Who are those 2 guys that you feel most confident? Last year it was Jahad Campbell slid down, right? It was Q Robinson. You had Jahad Campbell sliding down. Obviously, Quay Russaw was in there. So, yeah, those 3 guys that you felt pretty good about. But obviously, when you have your inside linebacker sliding to outside linebacker, I mean, it's one of 2 things or both. One, you don't really have anybody else the outside linebacker position that you feel good enough about. Or B, the guy that's playing inside linebacker is just that much, well, I shouldn't say that much better, but that good of an outside linebacker as well. Probably was a little bit of both last year, but would like to see somebody step up. Jaisha, I know you love football. Do you have any thoughts on this? I hadn't went to you for a second. Do you have any thoughts on this Alabama defense? Anything that you saw last year that you might want to see improved on this year, or anything to add to this?
I definitely think there are some improvements. I think my biggest concern is how do you find a replacement for Jahad Campbell? Because him and Lawson was kind of like that dynamic duo.
Yeah.
There's definitely areas that we can improve on. I think you're kind of good in terms of corners. To me, I will say the biggest concern last year was sometimes the defensive line and then the linebacker room. But I think if they really train and they're especially healthy, that's another thing that affected us last season. There were so many guys that were down. 1 minute Quay Russaw's playing, and then the next minute he's not healthy, and then
Q Robinson,
switch to somebody else. So yeah, Q Robinson. But as long as they remain healthy and then just be really tuned in to film, because there were a lot of times where I feel like they were just out. I was literally just telling Reed here, the Vandy game, I don't think really any of their defensive plans were executed the way that they wanted them to, because there weren't just the linebackers out of place. It was sometimes the corners or the defensive line as a whole. So it's just a lot they can work on, just tweak a little, but as long as they're healthy and they like hone in on what they need to, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, that's really good comments. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're right. It wasn't just, I mean, the defensive line did stand out, right? You know, we always look up front first, right? Everything starts up front. There were times that, you know, we got out physical. That was definitely, again, tough to see, because you talk about Alabama football. I mean, we always talk about, the physicality that we always have brought. And it was there at times. It was inconsistent. And you got to have it. It can't be something that you're turning on and off. It has to be anytime you take the field, man, you got to be a physical unit, right? Because everything starts, number one, up front, and it starts with that physicality. As a defensive unit, you want people to fear you. One of the best ways to gain that, you know, reputation, to gain the, you know, earn the respect of another team is to out physical them, man. I mean, you keep beating up on somebody over and over, they're not going to want to keep going. That's why we used to always talk about making teams quit. But you're right, though. One unit, there was times it did seem like we just were kind of out of sync. And I think that does kind of, you know, it's going to be contributed a lot to guys learning something new. I mean, I talked about it a lot last year, explaining to people, like, you got to remember, man, I mean, imagine like for 3-4 years, I mean, you're taught, you know, a certain way of doing things. I mean, say it's, I don't know, some work you're doing on the computer, say it's whatever, riding a bike a certain way. And then you get a new coach and they completely, not completely, but they change it up to where they're telling you to do it a whole different way. It's a different philosophy. It's not easy. I mean, I used to always give the example, like, when I went to the Panthers, the philosophy there was a lot different, from playing the run to our stances, just really just, pre-snap, post-snap. It was very different. And it took me it took me some time to really adjust to that. You know what I mean? Like, I went from here at Alabama, we always taught, hands and hips, striking, coming off the ball, striking hands and hips, and really controlling our defender, and playing the run first, right? Or at least I should say playing the run first, but especially, first, second down, running downs, our main priority is stopping the run, right? We have situations where we're going to gear up and we're going to be ready to go get after the quarterback. But if it's first and long, second and long, those typical run situations, and I'm not necessarily in a defense or some type of call that is calling for me to really gear it up, I have to take care of my priorities, right? So my stance is going to be a certain way. The way I'm striking this guy is going to be a certain way. For example, in college, when we played a 6 technique, we always played, feet parallel, and we were going to basically drive to the V of this guy's neck and play through that tight end, right? We were going to dominate that guy. We always said dominate your box. So I would focus on dominating that tight end in front of me. I wasn't necessarily thinking if it's first and second down, right, or first, second and long. If I don't have any indicators on the offense side of the football, obviously I can, read keys and stuff like that. But if I don't have anything that's indicating that this is going to be a pass, I'm not going to sit there and just, get in a staggered stance and just, run by this guy, not really pay attention to what he's showing me, because our philosophy was, we're going to read our keys, right? There's pre-snap keys, whether it's formational base, whether it's, positional base based on the guy in front of you. But I'm going to read my keys. And if nothing's telling me to go, get in a pass rush, mindset, I'm not going to do that. Why? Because there's a good chance this team's going to be running the ball. And if I'm just running up the field, getting out of my position, getting out of my gap, I'm useless. We're playing with 10. Coach Saban used to say that all the time. When you're not doing your job, when you're putting yourself out of position, we're playing with 10. He used to always tell us as pass rushers, you rush by the quarterback, you're a waste of space. We're playing with 10 guys, and he's 100% correct. So that was, what I learned to do in college, and it was so effective for me that why would I want to change that? So when I went to the Panthers, and now they're telling me, hey, so when I was, playing a 6 technique, I'm coming out hands and hips. I'm not necessarily running, looking to run vertical, just flying off the football. No, I'm taking care of business in front of me. I'm going to jack this tight end. I'm going to choke this tight end out to play the run. And then if it's pass, I'll get into, a pass rush. I might be a little bit late on my pass rush, but I would rather take care of business stopping the run, because we know how important that is. And then maybe just be a little bit late on the pass rush, but at least provide that contain, then sit there and trying to be a hero, trying to go make a sack when there might not even be a sack to be made. They're running the football. That being said, it was an adjustment for me, because my coaches with Carolina would get on me like, hey, you need to come off the ball. We want you, vertical, get upfield. I'm like, it's 1st and 10. And I'm not trying to act like I'm like, oh, I'm smarter than my coach. But I'm like, man, I just came from a system where we played in 4 straight national championships. I was being coached by the best coach, who was a defensive coach of all time. It worked for us. We were always like one of the top teams stopping the run. And now I have them telling me like, oh, no, you're wrong for doing it that way. We want you just flying off the ball, which most guys would enjoy that, because it's a little bit more fun. Hey, you get to really just get after it more. You feel like you're going, to make more plays that way. But to me, I'm like, it doesn't feel right. And it was tough for me to adjust to that philosophy, especially when we're sitting there, we're like 31st and stopping the run in the NFL. And I'm just like shaking my head like, man, this is my job. I got to listen to them. Not saying it's the same situation, because I'm sure these coaches, obviously, and the numbers on defense prove it. They know what they're talking about. They're good coaches. But the point is, changing, the way you do something after you've done it for so long is not easy as a football player, and it takes time to adapt. And I'd argue that I'd imagine a year under these guys' belts of this new system, the new philosophies, doing what these coaches want them to do, knowing their new roles, how they might have changed, whether you're a defensive lineman, inside linebacker. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, but hopefully they're feeling a lot more comfortable. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep this conversation going. We got Q06 on lines. We'll bring him on, talk with him, see what he's got to say. Again, we got the Pastor Payne coming up here in a minute. I think he's still figuring everything out. But as soon as he does, he will join us and we'll discuss this Alabama defense because he's definitely got plenty of comments about that. So buckle up. We still haven't got to that, but it's coming soon. Right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of The Game, we're going to set.
What's up, Todd? What's going on? Let me see while we're on this break. I want to find like all these numbers, man. This is what we need Tia to do, man. We need Tia to Tia will probably have like a whole stat sheet. I need the whole production sheet. Let me see. I tried using the AI on this computer. It wasn't too great. Let me see. Let me clarify for it. You guys use AI as much as I do? So I use it all the time to look stuff up.
What if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day?
Carson, what's going on, man? Man, I'm great, man. I'm doing well. We're rocking and rolling. Almost done with hour number 1. It's flying by. We're going to get my dad on here in a minute. Follow up on our conversation yesterday. We're going to talk with Q in a second. Everything's good, man. How's everything going with you, Carson? Trying to find these stats for everybody, man. Okay, we got some team stats. I mean, it's not bad. It's something.
We are here for the achievers
who are resilient.
Maybe I need Chat GPT. I'm using a Copilot on Microsoft. Maybe that's not the best one. Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here, man? Oh, wait, here we go. Let's see. Wait, defensive stats. Oh, wait, here we go. All right, this is something. Now we're on to something. Let me go ahead and share this. Now we're on to something.
Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online
You guys
process.
see that, or is it
It
too
all
small?
starts with an online intake.
If that's too small, let me know. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's see. All right. I don't know if you guys like me, man, but
Hims
my
can help.
vision.
To start your free online visit.
Probably should wear. I need to be wearing glasses, but I'm not a fan of taking them on and off all the time. Wait, matter of fact, oh no, those are sunglasses. Never mind. I'm not going to be a tool.
0.9.
Wear sunglasses inside. Just working on a computer, trying not to scramble. Dude, I do that every day. I'm learning a language and
Storms developing
doing
by
all of it
afternoon.
and talking
Storms-
and doing a radio show. Man, by the end of the day, you talk about having like a scrambled brain, man.
9 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
I'm like thinking in like both language sometimes. I'm like, oh God, it's a little too much. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Let's go ahead and head to the phone lines. We got a few minutes here, and I don't want to leave him waiting. We got Q on the line. Q06, welcome in, man.
I told Jaisha I was going to be negative because I got to be negative for a few minutes about this.
Oh God, what happened, man? What happened?
I'm gonna ask you the question. Now, here's the question.
All right.
Alabama's defense is gonna be so much better this year.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean they're gonna be disciplined, not have all these penalties they had last year? Because they couldn't stop a nosebleed on third down, in the words of Bart Scott. So, I wrote the tape back. I was watching some tape again the other night, and every time you'd have one of the guys make a huge play, they grab a face mask, come across the face. I mean, you can have the greatest defense out there, but if they're not going to play disciplined football, I don't see it. Obviously, you just said something a few moments ago that made a lot of sense. Talent. The talent is going to be there. But does it mean the second year under Womack's defense, are they going to become more disciplined?
Well, that's a really good question. Something that we probably should have included. I just looked this up again, according to Copilot, which is AI. It said Alabama ranked 119th in college football in penalties per game during the 2024 season, 7.8 penalties per game on average for 72 yards. And Tennessee was the worst one, where they committed 15 penalties for 115 yards. So, you hit the nail on the head.
What you said, though, is that they were out of play position a lot of times. When you're running past, you're out of position. Sometimes you get nervous. You start reaching. You start grabbing. You start doing different. At least that's my opinion. I don't know. I haven't played in that level. But when you're out of position, sometimes that starts the clock to move a little bit faster. And now you're running and you're making dumb position penalties. I mean, even some of our best defensive guys last year made some dumb penalties.
Yeah.
And it just kept on. I would be so mad. I'd be throwing things. I'm like, man, take this defense back to South Alabama, man, because all these fourth downs and just kept converting. But anyway, that's my negative, guys.
Yeah, no, but that's fair though. And to answer that question real quick, in terms of where those come from, I mean, you've got so you got non-discipline penalties, right? Guys jumping off sides, doing things, and you got penalties where guys are just playing hard. Like sometimes it's going to be a PI, man. You got a cornerback that's trying to play him, well, and is a little early, something like that. I mean, it is what it is, but the non-discipline penalties, man, you got to cut those out, man. The jumping off sides, things like that after the play, whistle blows and you get in trouble doing something you shouldn't be doing, shoving guys, retaliating, stuff like that. That you got to cut all that out. But you're 100% right. That needs to be cleaned up. And just like Mike said, I mean, and I never said it was only last year. This has been plaguing us for what, 3, almost 4 years now, being so undisciplined. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, we used to do stuff like, if you get a penalty in practice, you got to take a lap, push up, stuff like that. I think that stuff, I mean, can it work? Sure. But at the end of the day, I think it comes from doing all the little details and really just understanding that they add up.
Maybe it's this year too. Maybe Womack, now they know what he knows who they are. They know who he is. Maybe it's this year too that they're going to actually get a little bit more discipline. Because they're walking around with their shirt tails out, showing up to practice late. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that's what I heard. This
right.
one just was not there.
Exactly. I'm telling you, it's all the little details, man. And I hate to say it, but even Coach Saban's last couple of years, man, I don't know if it's because he was a little bit older or what, but if I'm just being completely transparent, I mean, guys were getting away with some of the things that they probably used to not really be able to get away with, So it's not just the board. It was before that. Huh?
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be here when your dad gets on. So here's a question which I want to kind of bring out there.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Roach, defensive line, has he missed? Is it time? Are we going to see these guys this year step up and play in that area? I mean, it started to look like, I remember the days, your days, when we had some dogs. I mean, we had some dogs on there. And I mean, Freddie was coaching then, right? It was Freddie in a different position when we had those dogs.
No. So when I was here, we had Bo Davis, who I'd argue was, I mean, you talk about a defensive line coach that, I mean, just look at his resume with the guys that he was pumping out. And then just my experience being around the dude. I mean, that was like the one coach, like I never saw Coach Saban yell at that dude, man. I think I think that's probably the one coach that Coach Saban was like respected so much that the Coach Saban knew like Coach Bo had a screw loose. I'm just going to be honest, man. And the stuff he used to talk about with his defensive line unit is like, I mean, I could never say it on air. And I was like, I mean, these dudes are nuts. But yeah, no, I mean, we had Bo Davis, and then they had I know we had Coach Kulgowski. We called him Coach Cool. I might be mispronouncing his name. Was there one in between there? And then I know they hired Brian Baker, I believe, who had some NFL experience. That did not work out well. I think he was only here a year. Good dude, but that didn't work out well. Dunbar. We had Dunbar. I'm sorry. I'm missing. We had Dunbar. Coach Dunbar was before Coach Cool. Dunbar's great coach, obviously. I mean, he's been with Mike Tomlin with the Steelers years, man. So yeah, we've had some good coaches who did a hell of a job developing guys, recruiting guys. I always urge people too, because I know people look at our defensive line units nowadays versus then. Yeah, I'm sure yes, you can probably, link some of it to say, all right, well, those coaches, I mean, they were developing their ass off. But also you got to remember the guys that we were bringing in, I mean, like we were bringing in elite after elite after elite when it came to, defensive line talent too. So I also feel like it's recruiting that we haven't hit on in the last few years, not just coaching.
Maybe RPO offenses are just so tough to go against it. It's tough for those guys and those techniques to do what they need to do. I mean, maybe that's something that just came into play. I don't know. But I mean,
I will say this. No, I was going to say, yeah, schematically things have been adjusted. I mean, just think about it. When I was here, we never played okay, let me reword this. We played a 3-4. That was our base defense. So yes, we had a 3-down, front. But what I'm getting at is like, we had never done anything like 3-3 stack stuff. We used to laugh at that, like, when we used to watch like Big 12 games, so we'd be like, what the hell is that? Like, because it looks silly. Now, literally, I was saying we were running 3-3 stack stuff with Coach Saban. The game has changed. You know what I mean? And so with that, you do change, techniques and philosophies and things. At the end of the day, man, you still got to be physical. You still got to jack the dude up in front of you, man, and play on the other line of scrimmage and make plays. But yeah, I think you're right, though. That could have some type of effect too. Things do look a little bit different.
Let me give a compliment to the defense because I was negative Nancy for the last few minutes. The Swarm defense did look good. They had a lot of turnovers. They had a lot of, a lot more turnovers last year than they did the prior year, at least what I watched in football. I mean, going and take the ball away, looking for the strip, those kind of moves.
Yeah.
Just the bad defense positions of the penalty.
I'm
sorry.
No. I keep cutting you off on that. I keep thinking you're done.
I'm a minister, so dead air time is bad. So I'm trying to work off you because But anyway, nonetheless, Christian, those penalties, those bad plays. I agree with McElroy. I mean, defense could definitely be a game changer this year, but discipline. There's going to be a lot of things we looked at last year and we thought they did great, but you just announced they were 119th or whatever they were. Think about if they had all that cleaned up, what kind of defense we really have saw. So
no, that's true. And in terms of turnovers, you're right. We had 17 interceptions last year. I don't know how that ranks to years prior, but I'd imagine that's higher. That's a very high number. That was second in the SEC behind Texas. And then in terms of forced fumbles, we forced 13 fumbles, and that ranked us 32nd nationally. I want to say that's probably one of the top in the SEC as well. So getting the ball from the opposing offense was definitely a very common thing for this defense last year, and it's huge. And that was one of the staples for Kane Womack and his defense. He talked about that coming in, and Coach Saban used to preach on it all the time. He harped on it, the turnover battle, right? And there were stats to prove it. If you were +1, the percentage of your team winning was X amount. +2. I mean, it was like in the 90s, and obviously +3, it was basically damn near 100%. You would win that football game. So as long as they keep forcing those turnovers, but they clean up some of the, being out of position, become more physical again, clean up the penalties.
I want us to keep it real on what we saw on defense last year. That's the only reason I brought these points up.
Oh, don't worry. We got Pastor Payne will be on here in a little bit, and you talk about real. He will share what he saw.
Remember, man, him went head to head last year over it. I mean, he was like, "Hey, Freddie Roach better get together. He's out of here, and this, that, and the other, and he better learn these good recruits. But they're not producing." So I know he's gonna come with it. I know you got to shut him down.
Yeah, John, I trust you. I'm already getting ready to play defense, man. I'm about to be playing defense like damn. Who's somebody in the league? I don't know, like Herb Jones, man. I'll be playing Herb Jones defense.
I'm gonna say, Tango que Herme.
There you go.
Gotta
go.
Gotta
There
go.
you go.
Guys, take care.
See, cuídate. Take care. All right, we got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we will keep on rolling on this second hour right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Quick timeout. Hour number 2, come right up.
.365 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our.
You work for an insurance company, just worked on the Saints and the Pelicans renewal for this year. Like offering insurance to them, is that what that is? That's interesting. It's pretty cool if that's the case. I know a couple guys that work for the Saints. See what else we got on over here. I'm trying to figure out if he's saying he's waiting to get this piece to hop on here. He should just call in if he's going to do that. He can just hop on the stream next time. We'll have to move on past this conversation if you don't hurry up. It's Ryan Williams' comment when it says via college game day. Was that like an interview or something? Anybody know? Did they interview him? Let's see. See if I can find that.
Disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, worst case, we'll just circle back to this conversation when he's ready. In the meantime, though, see if I can find this.
Pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com. WTBC Tuscaloosa.
The College Game Day podcast. Oh, wait. Oh, so you run sidelines. What's up, man? Appreciate you always supporting the show, man.
Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that. You said the College Game Day podcast. I didn't know they did that. Yeah, I need to. Oh, there it is. I see right there. Wait, I didn't even know they did that. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, man, check out
37 feet. Edge the Braves.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's Arch Support Experts, hour number 2 underway. We got Sidelines Alabama here in the chat. Austin is running it. Shout out to him, man. I was just telling him I'm always keeping up with his stuff, get all the Alabama news, latest stuff. So really good content. If you guys haven't, man, check him out on Twitter, or X, I should say. SSN Alabama. Yeah, SSN_Alabama. Always been, matter of fact, he's been supporting us doing the show for a while, man. Always helps us out. And so shout out to Austin, man. Carson, I definitely was. What I was saying was I found the clip. So I guess I saw this, matter of fact, from Sidelines, but Ryan Williams had some comments about this team, and he actually joined the College Game Day podcast, which I didn't even realize they did that. I should have known, right? I mean, they do podcasts for literally everything and anything, but I found it. So we might as well dive into that and listen to see what Ryan had to say. We're still waiting on my dad. Again, the goal is to get him on here because I know a lot of people are eager to get his thoughts. We talked about this defense yesterday. Well, today, actually, more so. We mentioned it with him yesterday as he was coming off the show. So we didn't get his thoughts. And he told me he's got plenty of comments, and he actually was on the air in Charlotte talking about Alabama and a number of other things. I think Roman Harper also went on there. And just to give a preview, I think Roman feels strongly about Alabama making the SEC championship game this upcoming year. So I think my dad wanted to respond about that as well. So he's waiting on a little piece for his computer to be set up and all that. So I don't know if we'll be able to get him on the stream, but I told him he just needs to call on the show. So worst case, we'll get him to call in here in a minute. But before we revisit that whole conversation, hour number one, a little recap. We listened to Greg McElroy, got his thoughts on the defense. He talked about the strengths of this unit, how he feels that this defense line unit can take that next step. Biggest question mark is the pass rush, like we've been talking about. Where will it come from? Quay Russaw, obviously a guy that a lot of people have eyes on. Keon Keeley is a guy who's been here. We know his potential, just hadn't really been able to put that out on tape just yet. But I will say, man, I mean, number one, I know Keon really well. Really good young man. And he's working his tail off to be the best version of himself. Everybody just sees, 5-star this. They expect everybody, show up and be here. And could he have gone other places and probably play a little bit earlier? Sure. But I think it's been good for him to really develop and hone in on what he needs to get better at. And I'm really excited for him to really get an expanded role. And I think this year he will have a number of opportunities to show what he can do. He's gotten better and better, each year, especially in the spring, just watching him learn and develop and grow and get more confident. They moved him, from that outside linebacker spot to more of that bandit position. You're talking about a guy that's up to, he's like up to like 275, man. And he holds it so well, you can hardly tell because, he's all of 6'5", and his frame holds it so easily. He moves, just as well as he did when he was back around 240, 250. So I'm expecting big things out of him. But again, just without having somebody in that room that really strikes me. Well, here's the thing. Like, we have guys that could become elite, but they haven't shown it yet. But without having a defined elite guy in that pass rush role, that to me is probably the biggest question mark. That, along with the defensive line, how will they be stopping the run? What would that consistency look like, right? And I guess we'll know more soon. Tia says in the chat, I asked a good question about the defense on the app message. All right, let me see. Jaisha, do you have that app message pulled up? I just found out after all this time, I actually get emails with the app messages personally. I had no idea this was a thing, but they've been going to my junk email. So believe it or not, I think I actually can probably read this. But see,
I got you if you don't have it pulled up.
Is it the one that says I was going to ask you?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, I'll read it. Let me give it a try since I just figured this out. So we do have an app message from Tia, and it says, I was going to ask you in the L's we faced, who was more responsible, offense or defense? But instead, I want to ask the past 2 seasons, who had the greater unit, offense or defense? For example, the 2023 season, who had the better unit, offense or defense? In the 2024 season, who had the better unit, offense or defense? From Tia. Man, Tia's always got these questions that make me think, man. Talk about having a scrambled brain. And I'd love for you guys in the chat or listeners out there, if you guys want to chime in on this too, I'd love to get y'all's thoughts. Let me start with 2023. and I'm just going to go off the top of my head. I guess maybe I could go to break and really look at the numbers. I don't like relying too much on the numbers, but dang, 2023. So that was when we played Michigan. We lost to Michigan that year. We lost to Texas and USF. I would probably say, that was a weird year because, really initially offense was struggling, but then like the second half of the year, they really came to life. Now they weren't perfect. Uh-oh. I just heard a ping. That means somebody just joined the stream. I wonder who that could be. That things just got interesting. But let me finish this question. So, man, 2023. See, that's a good question. I'm going to have to think on this. But initially, I would say I'm thinking defense. But then I'm like, well, you look at the end of the year and kind of what this offense was able to do. I mean, even in that Georgia game, I mean, they looked good, man. Hell, even like something that's like, think about Kentucky. I mean, we broke all type of records against. I know it's Kentucky, but I'm just saying. I mean, offense wasn't a slouch. That one was kind of close. I mean, you look at the talent that we had, the number of guys drafted. Damn, that's tough. Let me look at 2024 or think about 2024 real quick. 2024, last year, I think that one's a little bit easier. I would go defensively. Our offense took a step back somewhat, right? I mean, you look at Jalen's production, I think it took a step back. I would say 2024 is a little bit easier. Defense, we just looked at some of these numbers. Matter of fact, they're still being shared on the screen. Second in the conference in interceptions. We saw the forced fumbles, 32nd nationally. I think just turnovers in general. I mean, we were one of the top teams and ranked 21st nationally. The crazy thing is, as much as people talk about the offense struggling last year, which again they weren't perfect. I mean, and they weren't elite. They were solid though, because if you really look at the numbers, where they ranked nationally wasn't terrible. Now, if you watch the tape, obviously there's a number of things we really could sit here and discuss and dispute. But I would say defense for 2024. I think 2023, I would probably lean offense. Just the way they came off. But again, if you look at those first few games, obviously we were having a quarterback dilemma. Milroe gets benched after the Texas game. That was a whole disaster at USF. But then after that, just kind of the way the trajectory that they were on by the end of the year, I mean, the offense was solid. The biggest issue for me that year offensively, offensive line was atrocious. I don't even need to pull up the stats for that. I remember off the top of my head, we literally were damn near dead last in terms of sacks given up. We did better on that last season for sure, but still offense felt like it took a step back. But 2023, I mean, outside of the protection, other things were solid. I don't think we ran the ball great if you're looking at the numbers, but we made plays. And I think statistically actually was decent. So, yeah, I would probably say slight lean towards the offense in 23, defense in 24. That's what I would go. But again, if you guys want to chime in, I'd love to get y'all's thoughts. I know we got Carson in the chat. Carson says, before we go to break, I'll read his answer. 2023 offense, 2024 defense, not based on talent on the field, but purely production. It's the defense last year. Yeah, I was trying not to focus on talent, because you focus on talent, you look at the guys we had on defense in 2023, and it's easy to go, oh, we had Kool-Aid, we had Terrion Arnold, this guy, that guy, whatever, and it's easy to go, oh, probably the defense, but I think the offense defense started out better, but I think offense might have edged them. Maybe, I don't know. Carson also says 2023, I believe the offense slightly was more productive than the defense. A lot of penalties and mistakes in 2023 from the defense. Yeah, that too. Both sides really, but yeah, definitely on defense. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, Carson. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. Thanks for the question, by the way, T. Again, now it's from our app inbox. But if you guys don't have the app, make sure you download it. You can always drop questions like that, like Tia just did. We'll read them live on air and discuss it. Plus, you guys can do that as well in the YouTube chat if you would like, if there's anything you want us to discuss. But we're in for a treat. When we come back, we finally got the Pastor Payne on here. And we're going to circle back to this Alabama defense. And we're going to talk about that defensive line, expectations for this year. And we're going to get the raw truth from the Pastor Payne. If you guys haven't heard him on here yet, because he hasn't been on here in quite some time, buckle up, because these takes are sizzling hot. Quick timeout. We'll be back here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's Arch Sport experts. Buckle up. We'll be right back.
Yeah, that's how.
You'll find road and.
All right, good deal. Sorry, I was waiting for the ads to play because I didn't want to. All right, let's bring them up here, man. Let me swap these. Boom. You're on mute right now, but whenever you're ready to unmute, go ahead and you're on mute right now. Just the heads up. I don't know if you're trying to talk to me, but you are on mute. Via like the stream, you got to unmute on the stream. I can't do it for you. So just click the if you look at the bottom, there's a mute button.
The lot now. Go.
Do you see the mute button?
Check 1, 2, 2.
There you go. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you great.
All right.
Mess with how
check. Sorry, my brother's interrupting our show.
Check. Can you hear me?
What does that say? I don't know. All right, man. What is it?
It's a basketball shirt. When we played Kentucky, they gave it. Check 1, 2, 2.
No, all right. So I guess that's a basketball shirt. There you go.
New blood, not blue blood.
New blood, not blue blood, is what it says.
Can you hear
Shout
me,
out to
Chris?
Alabama men's basketball. Yeah, I got you. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Well, I wonder if I should plug my.
I wouldn't change anything because whatever you're doing right now sounds good.
Because I got my headset plugged in the computer, but there's a plug right into the mic, which is what I
helped.
Yeah, but you can hear us, right? Can you?
Yeah, you're great.
Can you hear the radio?
My community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army.
I would just leave it. I wouldn't even mess with it right now. We can do that afterwards.
Weather brought to you by.
All right, good deal. All right, we're back. This is the OG.
I had to download the Chrome, so that's what I got.
Yeah, Quadcast. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's got a light on it, but I think you're getting
This afternoon, a few.
You said what?
I think you're getting still a computer, but I don't know.
What do you mean?
Because I thought that light was a blink.
Well, it sounds really good and clear. I would just leave it like that.
Center line tied.
Cool.
And I'll sit on here afterwards and we can mess with it.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And we're back on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's art support experts. If you guys aren't checking us out on YouTube right now, nothing wrong with listening to the radio. Obviously, we encourage you guys, download the Tide 100.9 app. You can listen to all the shows, including us, virtually anywhere. Not virtually, literally anywhere in the world. We've had people overseas listen to the show, which is cool. But you can also leave app messages, immediately call in, just click the phone icon. But if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, I urge you guys, go on YouTube. Number one, hit the like button when you watch our videos. That helps us out. Again, the streams are free, but it definitely helps us out. But two, hit that subscribe button. That way you stay up to date. You get all the links. But you're in for a treat because now we've got the OG Miller's Edge going on right now on the stream, right? We've got the Pastor of Pain joining us, not on the phone lines, but on the YouTube stream, like the good old days, like when we used to hop on here and do the post-game show. Everybody was big fans of that. Like we used to come on here and do a lot of stuff. So for you guys listening on radio, you guys are in good shape too, because you'll be able to hear us just like you hear me doing the stream and all that good stuff. But now we're joined by the Pastor of Pain. I got Mike in the comment and he said, Radio Gold, Pastor and Christian. So yeah, obviously people are excited about this. So hopefully we'll be able to get back to doing this a little bit more frequently. But that being said, you guys already know we've been talking about it. And now we're about to dive into it. I've been talking about the defense. Why? Because there's been a lot of talk about Alabama's defense We mentioned it yesterday at the end of the show, but we didn't get to hear his response. Now we're going to do that. What we were responding to was Greg McElroy and some others have made comments about Alabama's defense. Just to recap, here's the article. We're not going to listen to the video. We listened to that earlier. But here's the article talking about Greg McElroy and his thoughts, basically saying this could be one of the best groups in the country by season's end. Hold on. I'm not seeing this. Okay, I'm seeing his face now. I heard a chuckle. I figured he was giggling. All right, hold on. Let me finish. This could be one of the best groups in the country by the season's end, assuming the younger players can develop as they developed last season. That was one of the main quotes from his video. Pastor Payne, I'm just going to let you go ahead and respond, man. You're chuckling. What's so funny about Greg? What's so funny about his response, man? He did say if the young guys can develop like they did last season. So he did throw in a denim. He didn't just say, "Oh, they're going to be." He said,
Yeah.
So what do you thought?
I mean, listen. The if is just to cover yourself, right? If the Lord Jesus don't come back during football season, if Tuscaloosa don't get hit by a storm, a lot of ifs and buts were candy and nuts. Every single body will have a Merry Christmas. But let me just say this. They got several key defensive guys coming back, right? Guys that contributed to this football team defensively last year. Guys like L.T. Overton, you mentioned that yesterday, Deontay Lawson, Damani Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Tim Keenan III, Keon Staff. They got guys that have football acumen about them, that have played valuable, meaningful minutes. I get all of that. But the reality is, in my opinion, based on what I saw, what all them dudes coming back weren't great football players. They weren't the level of talent that we've seen at Alabama in years past. I know we're not living in the past, but I'm saying normally when guys come back, they got status, they're good, they're all SEC type of guys. People look up to them outside of Tuscaloosa. I can't say that about 90% of these dudes. And then you got to worry about who am I adding to this group of defenders. Well, we're not sure. This wasn't an Alabama defense, Christian, that established the line of scrimmage, that could get after the quarterback, get offenses in third downs and just pin their ears back and go get it. We didn't see typical Alabama defense. Everybody kept talking about, the Husky position and the Wolf position. Wolf, everybody called all this stuff, but there was nothing there. And we're going to bring pressure. We're going to impose our will on the offense. We're going to do all these different things everybody talked about last year while we were on air, and we didn't see the maturation of that. Let's just be real. Now, how did Greg McElroy get to this could be one of the best defenses in the country based on what we saw last year? I can't go there. I can't buy that. I mean, can they be average to above average? Yes. But based on what we saw last year, I didn't see no pass rusher. I would say this. Who's coming back on this defense that have 5 sacks? 4 sacks.
That's a good question. I don't have the official numbers pulled up, but I would say I think Jahad Campbell was one of the leaders. Obviously, he's gone. And I know,
first round pick, their best defensive player got drafted.
And I know Q Robinson was on the verge of having a good year. He got drafted, right? But you're right. I'll try to pull it up quick. But to be fair, while I pull that up, look at this though, because I will say, obviously, you definitely are going to be a little harsh. But where I do agree,
it's been real.
No, okay. But where I do agree, and am I sharing this? Let me share this so you can also see this and the viewers. In terms of sacks last season, this is what I'm talking about. We ranked 13th in the SEC with 25 sacks.
Oh, 13th. My God.
That's not good, and that's out of 16 teams. Now, tackles for loss wasn't any better; it was worse. We had 51 and ranked 14th. So when you talk about the guys up front,
you've been harsh.
No. So what I'm saying, no. So I agree with you on that. Now, where I was saying I have to play some defense. I have to be Herb Jones for a minute. I have to square you up for a second. The guys coming back. Now, I looked at the all-SEC list. Now, you and I both can agree. We don't really give a rat's tail about, some of these lists and stuff because we don't put too much stock in it. The only guy returning on defense that was, you got Deontay Lawson third team All SEC. And if I'm not mistaken,
But
that's
we
the
don't
only.
even know what's going to happen with him because of the injury. How good is he going to be coming back?
Well, yeah, and when I talked about that, I mean, we're really going to have to see, which I think initially might, have some stuff, to work through, but I think it'll be just fine. But I will say this, I just wouldn't get caught up too much in that. Here's why. You mentioned, how do these guys look compared to some of the Alabama guys of the past? Well, I mean, we know I played with all those guys, most of them at least, and Xavier Brown, Damani Jackson, that tandem at cornerback to me feels just as talented as a group of guys of the likes of Kool-Aid and Terrion. When we saw guys like, Pat Surtain and maybe not maybe not Marlon, they weren't playing together, but who was on the other side of Pat? I'm drawing a blank, but you get my point. Right. Honestly, those two corners, and then really just throw in the safeties. I mean, Bray Hubbard, right? It isn't the sexiest name on paper, but if you go on, if you turn that tape on, that kid, he forced a turnover in every game that he played when he took over for Keon Sabb. He's hard-nosed, hard worker. I mean, that dude, you look at the numbers, even the PFF numbers, he's one of the top safeties returning in college football, believe it or not. And then Keon Sabb, who got hurt, he's also come back. I think that secondary unit, I'm going to be completely honest with you, not to mention the young guys as well. And we had Ha Clinton Dix on the show. I mean, he's a first-round pick, played here for Coach Saban. He works with player development. He said this DB unit looks to be one of the best that he's seen and been around. And he's been around. Listen, that's from Ha, who's again.
See, that's what they got to stop.
How? Listen, no, I just talked to no. You didn't hear. I will listen to sack numbers. The turnover.
The secondary.
If
Greg McElroy would have said the secondary has a chance to be one of the best in the SEC and potentially one of the best in all of the country, based on what you just talked about, I could buy that.
Well, yeah, the numbers are right there.
Jackson,
17 interceptions last season.
I like Hubbard. I like Sabb. I think he's a Johnny on the spot type of defender in the back end of that. I think their secondary has a chance to be good. I do.
Yeah.
Now, he said what you just said, that Ha said the best that he's seen. Now,
yeah.
I'm just going to listen. When you say that Alabama secondary, the best you are making a huge statement, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's come on, man. We got to stop this. We got to stop this comparison and what. Then see what happened. And you get people like Pat, and you get people like Cedric, and all these chapstickers gonna start calling in and saying, "Oh man, did you hear what Ha Clinton Dix said? I mean, he was one of the best ever to play at Alabama. He was a first-round draft pick. He was that dude, and he said this. Oh, it must be real." And then they don't go out there and they don't perform like that, and then people are let down. All I'm saying, we got to stop all this highly projection. Let's let these guys get things on paper that we can say, you know what? Oh yeah, he got a chance. All I'm just saying, I've seen guys you play with, the Ronnie Harrisons, the
Marlon Pat, who's arguably the best cornerback in the NFL right now. Xavier McKinney,
the Giants are now Green Bay. Was one of the top leaders. What's his name? Just got drafted about 3 years ago.
Xavier McKinney.
I mean, these are guys, even crazy Tony Brown, who has been. Come on, listen. I'm just saying, bro. We've seen some dudes back there that's still playing on Sunday, right? Still playing.
Yeah, and the top of the game too.
And then now you're gonna say that this group I ain't gonna go there just yet. I'm just saying I can't eat that.
No. Listen, I'll be honest with you. Even you just mentioned all the guys I play with. It is hard for me to even think about. Man, if he's saying almost a better unit, because I mean, I remember like 2016, our secondary. I mean, it just insane. But I also respect it because I'm like, look, man, you're talking about a dude that played here. He played with some dogs. He was a dog. Played in the NFL. He's around those guys every day. And I listen, and I will say this: I've seen these dudes. Listen, it is now. I'm a little hesitant to say like one of the best ever, but I have no problem saying they look to be right up there with some of those units that I played with. I have no problem saying with that. I do feel confident about them. Like, there is talent in that. And you're talking about, imagine even if, Mbakwe, who moved to receiver, I wish he would have stayed on defense, but it's crazy because even a player like him who had a lot of potential on defense. I don't even know how he would have fit in because there's so much talent. But in terms of, up front, I'm not really going to try to argue too much with you because I'm not going to rely too much on the stats, but these do speak for themselves. When you look at it, only 25 sacks, only 51 tackles for loss. Being almost last in the SEC. I know now total defense, we was like 21st nationally. So believe it or not, we did, statistically do well defensively. And I'm solid with that. But it's almost like the stock market right now. The stock market is climbing back up, but underneath you're looking at the bonds and everything else under the surface. The stuff needs to be cleaned up. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like the tariffs needs to be. But anyway, let me just say that y'all welcome me back because I'm gonna throw some hate up in here when it comes to shade when it comes to y'all politicians. Here's what I'm saying right here. Listen, Christian, you played at the highest level. You played at Alabama. What do people say the best pass defense is based on what?
Pass rush.
Pass rush. Didn't you just read to me how bad that Alabama was? One of the worst in their own conference, one of the worst in the country at rushing the passer. Is that correct?
Yes.
So as good as that back end could be, if a quarterback, here's what I know now, I'm 56 years old and, I've been around the block once, twice, 10 times. And, I got to understand that if a quarterback has a lot of time to sit back there in that pocket and scan a defense, look around and, eat a couple of sunflower seeds and, what I'm saying? If he got that kind of time, well, he's going to complete a lot of passes, right? If they don't make him hurt via through outright pass rush and or running dogs, which means adding a fifth rusher to the rush or blitz, you can bring 5 or more, 6 or more. So if they don't do that, that secondary, I don't care how good Clinton Dick said they are, they won't be that good. Number 2, this is the same defense that, again, I'm starting with the trenches. Right, not the pretty boys that don't wear pads in the pants. That they just out there kind of in shorts. Not them dudes. Receivers, I don't even call them real football players anymore. Listen, Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Let me take folks back down memory lane because I know since I didn't take a little break from the show, I know y'all been chapsticking. I listen in. I've been listening. But y'all, I think you kind of forgot that Vanderbilt and Oklahoma still are running the ball on Alabama's front seven. I think you seem to forget that you got embarrassed by 200 and something yards by Oklahoma and Brent Venables, who was a bad football team. You got dominated. There wasn't no trick running game. This was mano a mano, man, oh man. Physicality, trench work, where Alabama dominated the SEC and the entire country for almost 2 decades under Nick Saban because he specialized in winning the trenches. What position grouping has gone down the most at the University of Alabama, Titletown? It has been in the trenches. What recruiting areas have gone down the last 5 years in Alabama? It has been in the trenches. Yes, and they've had a couple of edge rushers. Yep. Have they had a couple of offensive line? Yes. But as a whole, it has been pretty bad. Therein lies the problem. Why I think people are saying that's not Alabama fans, Christian. They're looking to be like a 9-3 football team.
Well, let me give you a little pushback, right? Because I was listening to what you said. You mentioned the secondary, and obviously I do agree with you. You know, best pass defense is pass rush. But what I will say is, think about this for a second. Is as poorly as we ranked in those categories that we just mentioned, sack production, tackle for loss production, would it shock you if I told you that Alabama's passing defense ranked 21st nationally only giving up 168.4 yards per game. And that was with statistics as poor as those. I'd argue that means that there's potential for room for growth. And I'd argue that that kind of leans in HaHa's favor, meaning, hey, that secondary was able to record those numbers and perform like that, even with a poor pass rush in front of them. That is impressive, and that is something to say. In terms of rushing defense, you mentioned that that needs to be better.
If you take, what? These stats are overrated because like 2 games I just told you. Games like Oklahoma and Vanderbilt.
Well,
they didn't throw the ball that much, by the way.
No, but
they didn't have to.
But I'm gonna get to that though. Just watch. So Alabama's rushing defense, 32nd nationally, better than I thought they would have been, allowing 137.8 rushing yards per game. Not too bad. Obviously, that's not top 10 like we're used to. Where we're used to. But I'd argue, I think Coach Saban's last couple of years that kind of slipped anyways. We know that. But anyway, that needs to be cleaned up. But here's what I'll tell you to think about. Again, that's why you got to be careful just looking at numbers. That's why you actually got to watch the tape and know what to look for. You mentioned 2 games specifically. You mentioned Oklahoma and you mentioned Vanderbilt. What did those 2 games have in common? / 2 teams, right? Number 1, yes, they ran the ball over us. Number 2, the other thing they had in common, they had a running quarterback and they had a game plan that involved running that quarterback. I would argue that, yes, while there were inconsistencies at stopping the run, the majority of that yardage that we're seeing statistically was coming from quarterback runs. That, to me, implies that, look, that type of issue, if you can clean up, that might not say, okay, we're just that bad at stopping the run. Maybe we have more of a stopping the quarterback run problem. If that's the case, you can clean that up. Schematically, I feel like we should have been better in those situations. But also the guys have to execute better. And that's where it comes in about being out of position. I did watch guys like, hey, man, if you're a quarterback player, play the freaking quarterback. Stop staring at the dive. Stop having bad eyes. There's times that I did feel like guys had bad eyes, and I think that does sometimes come from when you do give these guys free will to be athletes, to make plays. That's great, but sometimes you kind of get away from assignment football if you don't have the proper discipline. So I will just add that. Stopping the quarterback run plays was a problem last year. And I think you need to go back and look at that, because if you watch the Oklahoma game, I think you don't even have to watch the game. If you pull up the stats, Alabama versus Oklahoma, their quarterback rushed for over 100 yards. I remember this because I talked with Ricky about it. I got the box score right here. Yeah, Jackson Arnold, he was 9 of 11 for 68 yards. So obviously we did a decent job there, but he was their leading rusher in that football game. 25 carries of 131 yards. Now, Xavier Robinson did rush for over 100 yards himself. So clearly there was a problem in general. They rushed for 257 yards. But I'd argue that if you limit the quarterback or you take that quarterback out of the equation, that game looks a little bit different. Obviously, we still struggled offensively. Here's what we're going to do, though. We got to hit a timeout. I love this back and forth. I love this debate. I know the listeners do, because they've been yearning for it. They've been wanting it. Yeah, I know. But listen, we're going to hit this timeout because we got to get back on schedule. We skipped a little break, but we're going to go to a break real quick. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. I know we have Ellis and Digger. We'll try to squeeze them on here. Matter of fact, we can just take calls since you're on the stream. No problem at all. We both can communicate with them. So let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we either go straight to the phone lines or we'll wrap this up real quick, then go to them. But we're going to keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I told you guys, man, we're going to have to go back and forth. I told you I was going to have that Herb Jones defense.
Construction is woman-owned and strongest steel.
Shout out to Brian Harding Construction. That's the ad that's playing right there.
ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rental. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
360.
You heard it. Check out Brian Harding Construction, man. Great dude. And he does a nice job, man. If you guys need any crane work, they're the ones that do all that work on the stadium. When you guys see those big old cranes doing work, if you got need for some crane work, man, Brian Harding construction. You need Kawhi defense with your daddy. I'm telling you, need something, man.
Brought to you by the Alabama.
Yeah, but we are. Look, I knew how he was going to come. That's why I said I listened to him. But while I'm listening to him, I'm getting my receipts because I got to play defense. I told y'all. But who's like the best defender? Kawhi, yeah, that's probably the best one. Herb Jones. I had to just go straight to Herb, man. Herb came to mind. Herb he's locked down. D. I told you guys. Nah, this is good though. Let's see. Let's catch back up on Tia's comments real quick. Well, first Miss Todd says, from y'all's perspective, what have we done to shore up those weaknesses?
Your benefits.
I guess we'll see, right? No, I mean, I think they're just getting to work. I mean, there's a lot of returners. So, I mean, if you're talking about defensively, I mean, I'll be honest with you, schematically, I don't really know too much. I hadn't really looked at like, what they're going to plan on doing to change stuff. I haven't really taught them, on that. But
of labor, ABA.
We'll definitely know more, man. Training camp will tell us a lot. Carson says, I agree, but not about I agree about not having an elite pass rush, but if you get any better this season at getting to the quarterback, is the success of the defense predicated on that? I don't think so. We still produce without Ed. Good point. All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Round 2. Ding, ding, ding. Matter of fact, man, I forgot I can do all this stuff on the computer now that we're streaming. It's the coolest thing, man. It's almost like I got my own thing. You know what I mean? Like I was about to say, hold on, man. Hold on. I was about to play the wait, where's it at? Wait. No, that's not it. Come on, man. I was trying to find the Oh, here it is. Here we go. This is what I was trying to play. Now, all right, we got round 2. All right, that wasn't the best one. But anyway, round 2 coming up, man. That's cool. I forgot we can do all this. Cool. All right. So we've been, and as you can see him shadow boxing. All right. So you're talking about this defense. I thought that was good. I mean, I know we've got some callers and we're only, probably got about 10 minutes left. Did you want to chime in on anything else, or do you want to go and hear what Ellis and Digger have to say? Anything else you want to add to it?
I want to talk to those guys, but, since Tia, I might now figure out the chat. So
too. Yeah, go ahead.
I figured out the chat, so now I'm in the chat. So I see y'all folks in here talking to you. I see you running your chops already from the West Coast. I'm back. The POP is back, and she talking about my hoodie, so that's why I put my little hoodie on. But this is not a Gamecocks hoodie. This is what we call this is Gamecocks for Christ. This is the ministry that we started mentoring the athletes, teaching about Jesus. So it's not a true Gamecock hoodie, but I know it's looking tight, okay? But you can get one of these too. Go to GamecocksForChrist.com and check it out. You can get some of my gear, my hoodies and all that good stuff. But I'm glad to be back. Look at Tia talking about 350.
She said Vandy's going to run for 350 on us again. Yeah. She was saying she doesn't believe Kane can stop a running quarterback.
That quarterback was talking. See, that's what I'm saying, Christian.
We thought about it. He was beefing with Ryan Williams.
No, listen, Ryan Williams running it off at the mouth. Ryan's gonna be Ryan.
No. Wait. He wasn't running off at the mouth. John Gruden. Well, I didn't get your thoughts on John Gruden, man. But anyway, John Gruden asked him a question, and all he said was he just, he. If you watch the clip, he wasn't running. He wasn't chalking track. He just was saying, he said they had a good game plan against us. They kept the ball away. They outperformed us. He literally said they were the better team that day. He just followed it up by, obviously, he's got to be confident. Say, look, man, no, I mean, we're not going to call it a revenge game, but we're locked in on that. That comment, it just flowed out of his mouth. He was not trash talking or not, man. The whole idea that we're beefing with this kid from Vanderbilt is silly, man. I hope we don't even continue that. It's just
we can talk about this. I mean, because football season, y'all might want to get ready to buckle up, because I'm gonna be on here at least 2-3 days a week. So y'all might as well get ready, because I'm coming back. I'm figuring out this whole thing. I got my mic, I got my setup, I got my own. Listen, it's gonna be on and popping. And see, Christian is nice. Christian's a nice guy. Matter of fact, Miss Anita, who's on here watching right now. You're nice. You're a young man. He's nice. He ain't gonna tell y'all the full truth. He ain't gonna sit here. But that's what OG is here for, to let you know that this is gonna be a tough year. And there you go. Look at this. Go ahead. You want to play that again?
You don't know what ball we play. Alabama, you're next.
Yeah, but wait. Let me
theoretically, we are next on their schedule.
1 week later.
And an impressive opening road victory for Alabama.
59-0. See, that's how we used to be for Vanderbilt, man. Man.
See, Tia, that's wrong. That's just wrong. That's wrong.
I mean, he is probably like 23, smashing like an.
I mean, dude is old. I mean, and
listen,
guys are getting 7 years now to play college football. God bless them.
Can you blame him? I mean, look at the money that's going around to a guy like a quarterback. Let's just be honest. He and I'm not knocking him, but the reality is he doesn't have some long projected career in the NFL where he's probably gonna make. He needs to make as much money as he can.
He might look at that dude in New Orleans. I mean, that guy in New Orleans plays quarterback.
Let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, the likelihood is, he probably won't.
Just saying, that's the football. That's the football being played right now. It's PlayStation.
True.
It's all that kind of crazy stuff. It ain't real blocking and tackling anymore. It's just like, hey, let's find a way to trick the defense. Let's find a way to, get them out of position. Let's play the game faster. Let's spread them out. Let's use the entire football field. You know how what's happening right now. But listen, I just finish up with this one, the Bama defense. To me, they got a lot of proving to do. And I can't wait to come down there this summer and sneak out at practice, right? And just look around the corner while nobody knowing I'm there, just so I can see what's going on in those trenches. Because if they don't get the trenches offensively and defensively, if they don't get better there, they're gonna consistently be an 8-9 win team like my South Carolina Gamecocks. They got to get better there, quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's the bottom line.
Fair point. I can't disagree. Now, I don't think it'd be that bad.
And Christian, if you got Vanderbilt talking smack to you, come on, man. I mean, Vanderbilt is talking smack. Listen, as they said back in the day, who would have ever thunk it? It is Vanderbilt talking smack, calling out Alabama. And I remember when that guy did the Alabama one, put that bend over. Like the old school paddling. No, I'm talking about the old school. And you don't know about this. We used to get paddlers in school with the big wooden paddle. They used to, you had to go in that office and bend over. And man, that joker there be coming off the top rope like Jimmy Snooker with a yucky. So, but anyway, if Alabama's getting talked smack to by Vanderbilt, that tells you something is getting lost. Something has gone the wrong way. That's all I'm saying. So.
Well, we'll see. Ellis, appreciate you hanging out and waiting a second, man. Welcome in.
Quentin.
Ellis, you there?
Hello.
Oh, is this Digger? Oh, what's up, Digger?
Hi.
Hey, sorry, man. I had to order mixed up. No, yeah. So me and my dad are both on here. It's been a minute, man. Yeah, we gave this early Christmas gift.
This is ambulance chasing lawyer down in Baton Rouge.
No, Covington, Louisiana. One word for Pastor Payne: TOE. You know what that means in the NFL term?
TOE.
TOE. You ever heard of that term?
Well, it TOE spells toe.
Talent over everything.
Mm.
I've heard a coach say that. Talent over everything.
We never said that in the NFL.
Okay. And listen, I'm telling you, I'm with you on this, man. I'm hearing, Greg, who was the number one defense, by the way, that McElroy said?
They said PFF had Clemson, and you did say Texas ran all over them.
Texas put about $2 and $2.75 maybe on Clemson.
Yes,
$2.90. I said $400 yesterday, but that was totally
okay. I know it was up there near $300.
Don't sound like a number one
McElroy. Yeah, your boy McElroy says we're the number one defense. And again, these individual opinions doesn't mean diddly squat. But the point I'm trying to make is the word proven. I need to hear the word proven. Is this defensive backfield that you have proven?
Yeah, I would say so, Digger.
They got some receipts. They got some receipts.
They're all returning. I mean, the two corners are starting. They started last year. They're returning. Keon Sabb returned. He started last year. Bray Hubbard started the second half of the year. Forced a turnover every game. Yeah.
They got some receipts right there.
And what about the D-line? Are they proven?
No.
Well, no, they have proven guys, but are they elite proven players? Maybe not quite, but no. I mean, I would say they're proven. I mean, Tim Keenan and LT Overton. I mean, I feel like they've proven a lot. I mean, maybe not to be John,
but they average, Christian. They're not. Nobody's calling home to mama about them jokers. I mean, they're okay players. Yeah. Go ahead.
One more question: is there a defensive end that's rushing that is proven? Do you have a rush at all? That's what I'm saying.
No. I mean, Quay Russaw was banged up last year, and he was, looking to establish himself as that. But I can't say that he did enough last year to say like, oh, he's a proven elite edge guy just yet. I think he's got the tools though to be really good.
Hey, Digger, I need to ask you about this, Digger, real quick before we let you go.
What?
Did Texas come back and win that game against Texas Tech last night?
Oh my God, it was a miracle. It was a miracle.
It was a 2-1, and I'm so mad that pitcher, as great as she was, when you walk a batter, don't you throw the ball like way outside so they can't hit?
Well, look, and again, if you know, to her defense, listen, I know it's $1 million mistake. You get paid $1 million, and that was $1 million mistake there. Okay, but you got to remember, okay, when you're behind, you need to know this. When you're a catcher and you're behind the home plate, and if you're going to intentionally walk, you have to be inside the batter box, in between the batter boxes, and then you can step outside after she throws the ball. So you kind of got to anticipate where she's going to be, and the catcher wasn't stepping out wide enough for her because you already got a girl on third base.
Yeah,
it's a wild pitch.
I'm just saying, against their best hitter. Against one of the best hitters in the country. It's like, let me just lob this right here to you so you can smack a 2-run RBI and lose a game.
Yeah.
I'm like, she was so dominant.
That's my girlfriend, by the way. Holy cow.
What?
Listen, Digger.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. Oh, my God.
Digger.
Listen. I am not going to be, oh, my God, you guys are awful.
I'm gonna have to
dirty.
Lord, I plead the blood of Jesus on Digger right now.
Thinking dirty? You just said that's my girlfriend.
The only reason why I say that is if you listen to her talk, she sounds just like my wife. I said, oh my God, she's a younger version of my wife, and I'm like, my girlfriend. So anyway, but real quick, and again, I'm being dead serious. That is a world-class pitcher. She's not going to make that mistake again.
I don't think so.
We're hanging on for dear life tonight. So, and you saw what she was doing all throughout the game, mowing them down. And we were missing line drives by a foot or 2 feet. I mean, she was good. So we'll see what happens. You got to watch it tonight, Christian.
I will for sure. I'm freed up. I'm ready.
Let's go Red Raiders, baby. Let's go Red Raiders. Let's go.
Digger, we appreciate you, man.
What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? The Red Raiders play. But one more thing, and this is important because I brought it up this morning because of Pat and all those people. You know, Keelan Russell's twin sister passed away on campus yesterday, and it's a damn shame. Okay? And it's a fellow Texan looking out for another fellow Texan. Y'all got to let this man go home. Okay? Let him go home. Let go of the contract and the scholarship. If he's under tremendous amount of pressure to stay at Alabama after losing his twin sister, come on. It's not about football anymore. Let this poor man go home and be with his family, man.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
No, I agree.
And Wimp had a problem with that. So I'm just saying.
I didn't want to comment too much on it. I just
I know that, but I'm just
with,
and you're not going to like this point. Oh shit, you hung up. No, wait, listen. If you're not going to look, you're not going to like this. I pray to God y'all got a counselor out there looking after him.
Absolutely.
They have all that, bro. all that stuff is.
And
they're gonna
there will be a
whatever he
village of
needs.
support without a doubt.
Yeah,
man.
it's just one thing we just focus on is I don't think I know is to pray. Number one, pray for comfort, peace, and strength for the young man's family. That has to be devastating. And nobody cares about football or where he ends up. Or see people talking about stuff that don't even freaking matter right now. What matters
that's ridiculous.
is
that
his family get the comfort, peace, and strength from the Lord, and that people just give them the space that they need to grieve and do everything.
And the point I was bringing up is I'm a twin too, by the way. If I lost my twin brother on campus, buddy, I am out of there.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not want to be reminded every day where my twin brother was found dead. So I mean, it's unfortunate foul play or anything like that. It's just unfortunate.
That's a tragic situation.
I'm telling you, as a twin, from a twin to a twin, and a fellow Texan to a fellow Texan, I am so out of there. I got to find somewhere else to go.
Well,
All right, I'll let you go.
Appreciate
All right,
you,
bro.
Digger.
Digger.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I think obviously his family and himself, they just need to take as much time as they need, and I just know for a fact there's a village of people that will be surrounding them and be with them through this difficult time. So definitely offering our prayers and condolences to that family again through a very tragic and difficult time for them right now. All right. We got to get out of here. Definitely been a fun one. Jaisha, I'm sorry that we went so much over. Hopefully Wyatt doesn't mind. Wyatt, sorry about that, man. We were having fun.
Matter of fact, let's go. Let's keep going. Make Wyatt go over there, get him a sandwich and a drink and a nap, and we got you, Wyatt. We got this thing popping again, baby. Let's go.
God. We'll
hey,
you're more than welcome to hop on here again tomorrow. We'll do it again.
Look at these folks. Boy, I'm telling you, I missed this. I do miss all this.
Oh, that's fun. All right, Jaisha, we're going to close things out. This has been the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We will see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate it, everybody. Later. So technically, wait, so she mutes me.
Set up a
all right, good deal. Yeah, so Jaisha, she can close out here. We can stay on the stream for on YouTube here for a second. I know people are leaving anyway, but if you wanted to say something real quick before everybody leaves.
Yeah, appreciate everybody. I'm looking at Q. What's up, dog? Q, my dog. Tia, good to see and hear from you. Miss Anita's on there. She knew that's Miss Anita who you talked to this morning. I meet with when I'm up early enough, a group of folks down at Starbucks and have coffee with them. Miss Anita's one of those. We call them the Wrinklies. I'm the youngest one in the group now. But good talking to everybody. We'll do it again. I'll try to even start once or twice a week jumping on here and then make.
No, you can jump on whenever. I mean, it don't have to be a scheduled thing.
Yeah, but I want to figure out because this plug is in the back of this mic.
Yeah, what you'll do is you literally would just plug that into the mic.
Well, let me try it for you.
Yeah, that's fine. Just plug it in there, and then what you might have to do is go to the settings on your computer and just change like the sound output to that mic. It'll probably register as HyperX, whatever it is. Then you select that.
Okay,
and you should
can you
be
hear me now?
Yeah.
How does that sound? Good, bad?
I'll be honest. I think everything really sounds about the same.
Check 1, 2. But see, here's the thing: is I can.
But wait, you need go to your. Wait, you said you can what?
I can hear myself in my ear, which is I like it.
Wait, you saying that's a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's good. You're supposed to hear yourself in your ear.
Oh yeah, because now you're connected. Yeah, so it should be good. Now I think it's picking up the mic audio.
Let me go to setting.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, if you go to the setting, go to sounds, then it'll tell you that should be the input option. Look for the same thing.
Output, I have. Hold on, let me turn it on.
Output, you should be good if you're hearing everything.
Okay, now I'm hearing you perfect.
All right, and then input, you should select HyperX or whatever the.
Okay, that's on the USB, so everything is clear now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I mean, so and with that mic, if you tap the top of it, it mutes it. Yeah.
Oh,
so talk. Yeah. So there's no mute button on that mic. You just tap that, and if that light is dim like that, then you're mute. So instead of you can always just tap that real quick. I don't have that. I have a button on the back of mine.
Yeah. Yeah,
So now you're good to go. Yeah, so like I said, you can what you can do is I think that link will automatically work. So if you ever just want to hop on, just literally, I don't have to keep inviting you all the time like I used to. Just click on that link and it should take you right here, and you'll just pop up behind the stage. I don't send Chase or the station any of the links. They just use this one. You just hop on there, and I just throw you on stage.
Yeah, they crushing Dig on the chat.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to really dive into all that because, again, I mean, it's a very, very.
I saw that. I didn't
new.
read nothing about. I mean, I didn't know his Twisted was at school down there.
Well, it's so sad, man. They just because I think he flew back to graduate because there's a video of them dancing together on stage. They walked, one after another on the stage, and they were dancing together. But yeah, man, it's very unfortunate. But again, I didn't even. I just wanted to offer my condolences, give them all the time they need, and yeah.
He didn't want me to come on tomorrow, so I come back up.
Yeah, I just told him he could come on every day. I mean, you don't have to stay the whole time. Just pop on here again. That link works. Just pop on here. And we'll run it. Yeah, I mean,
it's much better than what it used to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I don't even think they really updated much. The crazy thing is, so instead of we used to try to just we don't even use a clean feed link anymore. So literally, before I used to be trying to juggle clean feed with this and Simon, that's why it's so much smoother because we're streaming the radio show through here. Like everything is coming. So that's what's cool. Like that's why, so if I want to play a clip, I don't have to send a clip. I have all the control on my house. I can do everything from right here in my setup. And so if I want to jump to clips or we've been doing a lot of breakdowns, so people listen on the radio are probably what is he talking about? But I just pull up YouTube videos and it's just reaction stuff because a lot of people live streams where you react to videos, stuff like that. So that's really what we've been doing a lot right now until football season comes back. And I don't have to worry about Chase clipping it or asking him to stop it. I mean, just like I'm sharing this, I mean, I can share whatever, It's simple.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, just hop. Like I said, hop on tomorrow. Hop on whenever, and we'll.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Q. Man, it's busy. I'm full-time church in Greenville, so I'm doing that, and then I'm not doing the Uber. I haven't Ubered in about 2 months, so that's pretty much out the box right now. I just want to do it for fun, but man, I hate that for that young man. That's tragic. That is absolutely tragic.
Yeah, I just can't. I respectfully, I don't really listen to a lot of the other stuff. Really, I mean, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff, but I had no idea people were even debating. I mean, I just
well, because there's somebody probably he's from Texas and.
No. I mean, again, that's a natural thing to again at some point.
Yeah, but there's people that's being very disingenuous. You know what I mean? Just
insensitive, yeah.
And insensitive because who's thinking about? Who cares?
That's the last
right now.
It's not important, man.
All right, y'all. Let's see. Picking up people from the strip club. See, Tim, you see you tripping.
I mean, but
I did not go to not one strip club. If I saw the strip club address on my thing, I'd cancel. I'm not picking up.
But one thing to think about. I mean, that could be a good way to minister to some folks.
Well, that is true.
That could be.
True. So I didn't want to get legalistic, but yeah, you're right. Nah, I mean, I didn't. The worst part was going in some of the hoods I had to go with my car. Wait a minute, where is that? Oh, I can't roll up in there. You can't roll up in there. No Denali, 24 Denali with 24s on it. Talking about picking up somebody. No, you're gonna pick up a hit upside your head. No, I ain't gonna lie to you. I did. I was someplace you just know you don't go.
Jesus would have picked him up. That's true. Jesus would have picked I can't say that in the same sentence. That's crazy. You know what? The goal is to do a podcast in Spanish, but to preach in Spanish, I'd have to study more vocab.
Sometimes it's probably in Spanish when I speak in tongues. I just don't know if it's Spanish or.
That is not Spanish, man.
It could be.
I could tell you that's not. I mean, I've heard you speak. That you not speak Spanish. I mean, maybe you might throw in something close.
Maybe it's a Russian that I learned in school. Dobra utro, как вас зовут? Меня зовут Кори. That's Russian.
I was going to say that's definitely more along of some Baltic.
No, that wasn't tongue. That's Russian. That's real Russian.
Like that actually means something, or
look up just to ask Siri. or Chat GPT.
Why are you learning Russian? Jesus, QD. Y'all are acting a fool, man. This. We need to just dub this like the Miller's Edge After Dark or something.
Where's Cedric at?
Nah,
y'all checked on Cedric.
I was going to tell you. I'll be honest with you. I have not heard from Cedric, and I guess he came to one of the shows in the fall. Man, I haven't heard from him. I don't think Digger has a Twitter. Good luck. But see ya. Yeah, I haven't heard from Cedric, man. I hope everything's good. I know he was saying he had some health things like in the past, but I hadn't heard from him, man. Hopefully
somebody need to reach out to him.
I don't have his information.
They got Wyatt probably got something.
Yeah. We'll see. QD is talking about it. Y'all are wild. The families, we're having fun though.
There you go.
They're dancing, having fun.
This is my throwback jersey.
She said we lost to Michigan and Cedric went missing.
That's
Wait, what is it?
Anniversary.
Oh, Giants jersey.
The 75th anniversary.
What'd you end up doing with that helmet? Did it sell?
Right here. It's right here. No, it's sold, but I didn't sell it. Isn't that crazy?
That's fire.
Apex. Now, who would have won an NIL deal with Apex?
What's Apex?
Apex was like Reebok or
oh yeah, I know Reebok.
It's Apex.
No, that's fine. You know what's tough is like all the old like Reebok, jackets and stuff like from the 90s. All that NFL.
Hey, Q.
Cool. You out later, Q.
Yeah, I got all the stuff, but I'm probably gonna set up from my office. My office already got my jerseys on the wall. I just never used it, but now I'm over here. It's pretty cool. So I got a little football wall over there.
That's what I did. I just put, my tower of helmets and my jerseys and stuff on that.
Yeah, we lost to Michigan. Cedric went missing. Check on him. All right, Quentin, I'm gonna get you a hoodie, buddy. What size are you? I got some of these too. I got one right here. So it's a large. Are you a large? Peter Millar.
Oh, that's Peter Millar. That's nice.
Yeah, that's a hoodie just like I got on. But see, y'all didn't see this right here. See, I got the pastor paint on mine. But I got golf shirts. These are Peter Millar.
That's some expensive stuff, man.
Got black and white, and then I got a vest too. That's a vest right there.
Wait, but does it say Gamecocks or no?
Gamecocks for Christ.
No, I know it's Gamecocks for Christ, but I'm saying like technically
there's no Gamecocks on it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Technically, he could rock it though, even though it's Gamecocks for Christ, because it doesn't have like a Gamecock logo.
It's just the Gamecocks for Christ.
Yeah,
we got hats, we got all that.
Yeah, he could rock it then. Yeah, he said a large. Heck no. Well, all right, I got to run some errands and
2XL. I got you. I'll send Christian could put the link in there. He can go there. We got all kinds of stuff. You can just order it just right off there, bro. Gamecocks, FORChrist.com. You know how to do it on your thing, Christian?
Yeah, I'm about to pull it out.
There it is. So that's a hoodie. That's not the hoodie. That's a pullover, but there's a thing on at the shop, I think.
Oh yeah.
That is women, man. Got a store there, bro.
There you go. Good deal.
Yeah, put up on that if they want to get something. All right, I'm gonna go. I got this working now, so I need to work on 1334. How to set that up.
Yeah. Just let me know. I got to run to. I got to do DMV and a couple other things, but I'll help you set that up. But yeah, once y'all get StreamYard, man. I mean, once you get the layout and stuff, it's simple as this. Just hop on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that StreamYard now. All right, we'll holler.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Later, guys.
Later.